أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير تولج الليل في النهار وتولج النهار في الليل وتخرج الحي من الميت وتخرج الميت من الحي وترزق من تشاء بغير حساب لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين ومن يفعل ذلك فليس من الله في شيء إلا أن تتقوا منهم تقات ويحذركم الله نفسه وإلى الله المصير قل إن تخفوا ما في صدوركم وتبدوه يعلمه الله ويعلم ما في السماوات وما في الأرض والله على كل شيء قدير يوم تجد كل نفس ما عملت من خير محضرا وما عملت من سوء تود لو أن بينها وبينه أمدا بعيدا ويحذركم الله نفسه والله رؤوف بالعباد. We have repeatedly recited these verses and also the translations thereof. So I think today if we skip the translation, there won't be any harm. You already would have remembered it by heart. Why I repeated the first three verses is because there are a few points which I think should be brought to your notice. Shahid Allah, let me see. قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير. In this verse there is one point to be noted, that those people who believe in predestination, they translate it as an arbitrary expression of Allah's will. قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُعِزُّ, which means that God does not have to seek any reason why He should do it. So because He is the possessor of everything, He is the ultimate sovereign, so He may take any decision and there is no one to question Him. As far as the questioning is concerned, there is absolute agreement that there is no one to question Him. But as far as this connotation of a decision of God without its relationship to justice or fair play is concerned, we totally reject it on the authority of the Quran itself. In a debate with Hindus long ago, Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ pointed out a very interesting fact which had been ignored by many others who went into debate with particularly the Aryas regarding Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. And that is the point which I want to bring to your notice particularly. It will also explain the questions raised about the nature of predestination, etc. I mean, partly, not entirely. The Aryans, not the Aryans, but the Arya Samajis, who are a sect of Hindus who believe in the unity of God, yet instead of coming closer to Islam because of that, they are the farthest removed from Islam. They are full of venom and hatred against Islam, the Holy Book, and the Holy Prophet of Islam. to a degree that you will not find such venom anywhere in any Hindu sect other than these. Why did it happen? This is also a very interesting point, but incidentally, it's not directly concerned, but I'll tell you. The fact is that they stole the concept of unity from Islam, and they were under the inferiority complex that their faith did not have this beautiful concept of unity of God and so pure. So everybody would consider them indebted to Islam. So as a reaction, as a sort of an expression of inferiority complex, they started abusing Islam and claiming that the unity of God is a doctrine which originally belonged to Hinduism. And gradually, after a few debates with some Muslim scholars, they went on distancing themselves from Islam and its values, and then, ultimately, they ended up in most insolent and insulting people. Of all the people who lived in India, they were the most insolent regarding their relationship with Islam and or the Holy Prophet particularly. They lashed out at the slightest excuse against the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet of Islam in particular, to a degree that the blood boiled, and there were incidents where some Muslims could not tolerate anymore, so they murdered the person who had been so abusive and insulting. But here, about Inna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir, they took a stance which presented this God's power over everything in a way that it was not at all acceptable to the Muslim belief. They said because God is powerful over everything, is capable of doing everything, so he must be able to commit suicide. Also, he must be able to commit adultery, and he must be able to do this and must be able to do that and steal and everything. So they went on increasing the list. Is he able to do this or not? If he is able to do this, commit this heinous crime, then this verse of the Holy Quran is correct, because it says in totality God is capable of doing anything. And if he is not, then this is a lie. This is a false statement. So they, in this manner, they put many Muslim scholars to what they call to flight, and they were extremely hesitant to come across such insolent people, whose language was also extremely dirty and filthy. And they joked and laughed, and because they were in the majority at that time, the so-called Muslim scholars of today in Pakistan, they were so deeply under the influence of Hindu domination that they dared not oppose them or go into debate with them. It was Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ who took up the cudgel and fought the battles of Islam so bravely, so boldly, and so intelligently, that is the reason why the book Barahin-e Ahmadiyya created such an impact. So it has become history now. But imagine the time when Islam was so much oppressed and overwhelmed by a majority of hostile people, although the rest of the Hindus were not with them in this, but against Islam they were also aligned behind them. Their weight was felt behind them. And it sometimes happens. Today in Pakistan, the majority of Pakistani Muslims are not involved in this controversy directly. In fact, there are many who don't like it. But if in defense an Ahmadi kills an offender, then you will see they'll all start lining up behind their mullahs, and the battle would be between Ahmadis and non-Ahmadis as if they are the two poles. So that was the situation there, though the Aryas by themselves did not overnumber the Muslims, yet they knew they were a powerful people, and in case of fights and skirmishes, all the Hindu would go behind them. At that time, nobody dared challenge them or come into debate. Those who did, most unfortunately, they were not well equipped. So Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ solved this issue. Now again, one thing which I forgot to mention here is, Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir has been misinterpreted by the Muslims themselves to a degree that even today you find the Wahhabi sect and the Deobandi sect explaining this verse in the sense that yes, God is capable of committing a crime. There are books written by their scholars, not the Wahhabis as such from the Saudi Arabia. I'm talking of the Deobandis of India, who have so much in common with Wahhabis. But there is a written evidence, published evidence, that they claim that God is capable of committing sodomy and stealing. So they say this is correct, but he wouldn't do that. So as far as their escape is concerned, it is in the region of he will not do it, but if he so chose, he would do it. Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ brought into focus the word man yasha. He said, man yasha'u qadir. Yasha is not that on everything. Ala kulli shayn and man yasha were coupled by Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ, and the word man yasha threw light on kulli shayn. So he translated the word kulli shayn. He said, shay means a thing which one desires, not everything. Because the word shay is derived from shah, and the Holy Quran has two versions of the same expression. Ala man yasha'u qadir and kulli shayin qadir. So they in fact represent the same thing in different ways, and in reality man yasha throws light on kulli shayin. So shah means whatever he desires, he is capable of doing it. And because his wisdom, he is the source of all wisdom, and one of his names is wisdom. One of his names is wisdom. And also one of his names is purity. And one of his names is truth. So it is against his nature to wish anything which is against his nature, It's a contradiction in terms that God should wish something which is opposite to him. So he proved by this manner that kulli shayn should be translated as God is capable and powerful to do whatever he pleases, not at everything, as you find in the translations of other classical translations of Muslims, or even in the modern translations. We used to read sometimes, "Wo har cheez par qadir hai." The word cheese is the misleading thing. Everything. This is wrong. That shay should not be translated as thing. But he is capable of doing whatever he pleases. Let's see what translation has been made here in this case. You see, here also the same mistake is committed, against which Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ warned. This translation, although it's our translation, but it says, Thou surely hast power to do all things. So you see, the moment you do it, you fall into a trap from which Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ extricated you. So remember this in the new reprints. This should be change into the correct translation.